Is the entire education system now going to collapse because of ChatGPT? The answer will shock you. Nah, I don't think these AI tools are going to kill school, but they are going to make us rethink the entire education system and are going to make us value test scores, grades, and just pure memorization less and focus more on how well we can apply new knowledge. I've made videos on GPT-3, the model behind ChatGPT, 2 years ago, way before it became wildly famous. And what it did was it generated emails for my boss, which you can watch that video up there. But now that they've made a user-friendly front end, suddenly everyone's using ChatGPT, including a lot of my classmates in college, for solving equations, for writing papers, and for coding programs. But as for school, I think these generative pre-trained transformers are going to change the way we approach learning. Because these large language models are built on math, let's define school mathematically. So school is you learn something new, and then you get tested on your knowledge with an assessment. And then you keep learning the thing until you maximize your score of said assessment, usually to 0.9, which is an A. So how does ChatGPT affect these two parts in the learning loop? Well, as for learning a new concept, ChatGPT can explain to you anything in written form so that you don't have to manually go through and search Google for it yourself. But why should you learn how to read and write if ChatGPT can just do it for you? Why should you learn anything if ChatGPT can probably recite the information more accurately than you? Well, it's the same reason why during a conversation you don't look up everything you say to someone during the conversation. That would get old quickly. ChatGPT's goal is to synthesize information for you, but it can't really reason through someone's arguments or logic. It can give you reasons for a math problem to be solved, but that's just reciting other people's reasons. It itself is not doing any critical thinking. ChatGPT doesn't have the critical thinking and reasoning and logic skills that we have as humans, which is something you need to build a tool like ChatGPT in the first place. It doesn't quite pass the Turing test just yet, but we're getting closer to AI that will. And I think ChatGPT is going to pretty much act like a calculator for writers, in that by a calculator, I mean it's going to write you an outline for a paper that you want to write on, as well as possibly a rough draft, which you can then use to iteratively write your paper, which you can do a lot faster than writing from scratch. And as we know, in general, memorizing facts is going to become less useful since ChatGPT can just memorize. It has its memory of the whole internet. It can just synthesize anything you want from it. And so thus proves my point that generalizing and applying new information is something that's going to become more valuable in the future. The second part of the learning loop is being tested on your knowledge through an assessment. And this is where the true controversy of ChatGPT comes in. Because yes, ChatGPT can do your homework problems for you, but it does so with a questionable accuracy. And that's because it's trained on, imagine the entire solution set of the solutions to the question you asked, actually. That includes incorrect solutions, other people's incorrect solutions. I think it's more useful in terms of clarifying your direction on an assignment. And really, it acts as a kind of a classmate you're working on the assignment with, who can sometimes be wrong, but can at least get you somewhere if you're starting from nothing and you don't understand what to do for that one homework problem. As for take-home and online tests, ChatGPT can just give you a paragraph solutions, or it can, you could probably save a quarter of the time you would compared to Google searching through websites to find the question of the problem. But the catch is that sometimes professors are really, really smart and they understand kids are doing this for online tests. And the online tests sometimes are timed in a way that you don't have time to Google them. And also, if your professor or TA, whoever is grading your test, they've likely have seen other people's solutions as well. And if your solution doesn't seem like something someone of your level would say, or if it's someone else's solution, then you could be liable for plagiarism, and there's going to be some suspicious activity going on, and the professors can catch on to that. As for in-person tests, yeah, no, it can't help you out here. But I think the most important part of school is to actually do something and create something new with the knowledge that you've learned. More practically speaking, I think for ChatGPT, its most useful feature is going to be, as I mentioned earlier, writing papers, but not just papers, but just any written work, blog posts, poetry. But the problem is if you try to submit that for a class, one, the portions of other people's work that it's taken that's pre-2021, you don't know if that's actually good work that it's using for your response. But then also the issue is that professors are not stupid. They turn it in, and other plagiarism detectors exist. And they're likely going to be using that more often in the future, especially if they care about the class. In addition to Turnitin, there's this one guy who made something called GPT-0, which is a really simple idea. Just use ChatGPT to detect outputs made by itself. So it's just AI detecting AI generated content, which is also probably going to be a tool used by professors to see if you're plagiarizing. If this guy can get famous just by writing a probably 20-line Python backend, then what's your excuse for not being famous? What's my excuse? So ChatGPT isn't going to kill school, but it's going to make us, again, focus less on memorizing concepts and more on applying them to new situations, which is part of the reason for creativity. The true meaning of school is to learn theory so that you can do things in practice more efficiently, and then use the theory in practice to ultimately make an impact in the world. GPT-3 will only kill school if the education system continues to focus on maximizing test scores and grades instead of actually applied knowledge, which I think is really done through judging and comparing how creatively people are able to apply the knowledge of the classroom to new situations. And I know that's like super, super vague and super hard to quantify, but that's definitely something that we need to figure out a way to quantify soon. And if we don't, then kids are just going to keep using ChatGPT-3 and they're not going to learn anything. As Santiago Valderrama from the YouTube channel Underfitted said on his Twitter, AI will not replace you, but a person using AI will.